And welcome back to another Mr. Egg's Pattaya podcast. I'm going to go right in and introduce our guest today. You will know him if you've seen his YouTube channel, Buzzing Pattaya. Trevor, welcome to the show.
How you doing, my man? Thank you very much for the invite.
Thank you, and thanks for coming.
It's a pleasure.
First of all, let's get straight into it. How is things going on YouTube? Because you are just soaring away.
I don't know why. I really, genuinely, honestly don't know why. Every day I look up in the mirror and I think, why?
When did it start really taking off for you in like subscriber numbers time? Because I've just hit 8,000 and I've noticed I'm doing like every day I wake up and there's another 50, another 60, another 70 subscribers. When did it hit you like that?
I mean, the channel's really sort of been pushing a lot, maybe about a year ago now. I had 400 odd subscribers and I'd left it alone for a long time, and then I suddenly started, and yeah, I don't know, I'm like you're saying, you know, I used to wake up in the morning and there'd be like 50 new subscribers. I'm like, wow, like, you know, how's that? Why is that? So and then I guess like with everything, the more people that watch, the more people will see it on their timelines and their streams, etc., and then it kind of just rolled from there. So I think now we're at about 28,500 subscribers now.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And what have you got, like, we're going to talk about your new business venue, which you
new business?
Just told me about, which I had no idea about.
That was meant to be an exclusive.
But with YouTube, how do you see the future? Because I always think YouTube or Google, the people that own it, they're never ever going to let you make a lot of money out of it. They'll get you to make a certain amount and then they'll change the rules or something like that. What are you thinking about? Because let's face it, there are so many Pattaya YouTubers now.
Yeah, they seem to be coming out of every hole in the ground and every woodwork crack, etc. And, you know, it's good in many ways, because I think the more publicity that Pattaya can get, right, and the more people can connect with what we're doing here and see the changes that are happening, you know, I think that's a good thing. I don't think that's a bad thing. There are a couple of YouTubers that perhaps are not my cup of tea, but then I'm sure I'm not their cup of tea. I just think you've got to use YouTube. My plan is to use YouTube as much as I can to benefit other aspects of my business away from YouTube.
Brilliant. It's the same as me. I mean, not that you weren't interested in talking about me, but for me, I'm a bar owner first, and secondly, I'm a YouTuber. So, looking at all the videos that you've done, how many videos have you done? Do you know?
Oh man, I don't know now. Over 5. Well, one a day goes out every day.
Okay. Of all those, which is the one? If you could choose one and say, I'm really proud of what I did there, I really enjoyed making that. Which one would it be?
Oh, can we separate that? Can we do pre-COVID and during COVID? Yeah. Pre-COVID, what would be the one pre-COVID? Probably, I think it would be my first walkabout, and I walked around. I did Walking Street, and you know, you've forgotten more than I know about Walking Street, and I have no issues with that at all. You know, you're a very knowledgeable guy. So for me to walk around and talk the way I did and to get the response I did, it was amazing, because I thought to myself, wow, people actually believe this shit. You know, it's crazy. It really was mental. And then, of course, the more you start doing stuff, the more you start to actually understand it, and you start to get connections with other people that share their knowledge, etc. And so I think for me, the Walking Street video was definitely a really, really good stepping stone for me, as was the interviews. I've found a real comfortable niche now. I mean, you're interviewing me, which is fantastic.
You know
Normally, I'm the other way around.
I woke up today and I thought, this is going to be like interviewing Michael Parkinson or Jeremy Paxman.
Probably Oprah Winfrey, I guess. Probably.
Trevor will be sitting there saying, "Oh, I wouldn't have asked that." No. Yeah, your favourite interview?
Yeah, I think favourite interview. Cool. Now you're going to ask me. Favourite interviews probably got to be Bazza from Club Misties.
Okay.
He's just off the rails, and I love him to bits. He's a good friend, and he was just his life, for him to get here. I'm sure you know Barry. You know.
Do you know what? I've never met him. I know a lot about him, but I've never met him.
He was in a rock band, well, not a rock band, like a back in the 60s, 70s, and he was at Glastonbury and all that rest of it. Mad, absolutely off the rails. Then he got into like the porn business, and he's just an absolute legend. He's probably one of what I would consider to be my closest friends here that I genuinely have a lot of time for. So that was definitely my best interview. Now coming into COVID, I think one of the things that's really I've really enjoyed, and I think that the payback's now been in terms of the success of my channel has allowed me the opportunity to help people here that are in desperate need of help. And for that, I'm truly grateful to everybody that subscribes and watches my videos.
And what you do is, you don't just set up a table and let people come to you. You go to the people, which is so important.
I hate the table setups.
Yeah.
And please don't take offence if you're watching or listening to this. Sorry, it's not that I don't want people to give the food out. I've watched it myself, and the reason I chose the option to go out and find these places was, rightly or wrongly, it's just an opinion, but I've seen people set up a table and suddenly, like I've seen like motorbike taxi drivers ride past, stop, take their jacket off and go and join the queue. I've seen Hungry Panda and Hungry Now and Food Panda. I've seen drive. Now, I'm not saying that they're not entitled to food at all, but what I am saying to you is two things. Number one, I think it's an opportunist market where if you go past, you see there's food, quick, I'll go and grab some food. But number two, the people that I go to can't get to Beach Road. They can't get to Ballyhype.
Right.
These people are over on the dark side in the middle of nowhere. So for me to go to them, I think it works better.
I couldn't agree more with you. We have a food handout, and they've had a food handout right from last March or April, just at the end of Soy Diamond, and I'm going to give them a name check. It's Amigos Tailors.
Okay.
I think they do it in conjunction with the Sikh Temple, which is quite nearby, and they give out sandwiches and stuff every day. I mean, every day. Even when the bar was open, they were giving out sandwiches every day. But I see people pull up. It's about 3:15 in the afternoon. People pull up on motorbikes, and dangling over the sides of the motorbikes are plastic bags that have got loads of food, loads of drink.
Yeah.
And they come, they queue, and they get their sandwiches and they go. And like you say, I'm not knocking those people, because there is the opportunity. They're saying, some free sandwiches, come and get them.
Yeah.
But there are people. Are there people in this town that are really, really needy? Yes. Are there people that are starving? I don't think there are. And you're right. And I think you taking it out there is brilliant.
I think one of the things that pretty much hit home hardest for me was when we were filling the vehicle up. Like we've got a truck which we fill up every Thursday with our supplies and ready to go. And the amount of people that are riding past do U-turns and come up and say, can I get some food?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, sorry, no, you can't, because we're going to go to an already designated area. And when we drive down the road, they follow us. And like you say there, Phil, and I'm not begrudging anybody a meal in any way, shape or form. And just because you can ride a motorbike doesn't mean to say that you've got a larder full of food. But if you could put fuel in your motorbike, well, and you can chase me around, surely that is a better indication than the people I'm giving to that are living in wigwams.
Trev, the thing that struck home to me about all of this was there was a couple of Twitter tweets from people in Jomtien who had Thai restaurants, and they says, we've had to close, and we've had to close because we can't compete with free. Yeah. And there were people that were eating in this Thai restaurant, which was just a little noodle sort of pop-up place, that was saying, well, they're putting stuff in their freezers and freezing it. But Trev, if people want to help and to give to that project that you're doing, how can they do that?
I guess really the easiest way is to drop a comment in any of the YouTube channels, because I answer every single comment. So and I do that personally. So it's not someone that's working for me or anything like that. I do that myself personally. So then I can then see the comment and then I'll pop them. Or they can just email me on 247pattaya@gmail.com, and then I'll send the options.
Okay.
But one thing I would like to just say is that and I had this, we're talking about YouTube, so we had this troll, and he came on and said, unbelievable, you scamming this, scamming that, and I was like, right, okay, and he was saying, I've done some maths over the last couple of weeks, you've had X amount of money sent to you, and you've got a truck full of 20,000 bahts worth of food. And I'm like, so I asked him about it, I said, and where does it say we finished? Can you just show me that part, please? And then he deleted his comments. So, all the money that gets sent to me, yes, we do have an overspill of money available right now, but I haven't stopped doing it. I'll be out on this Thursday and next Thursday and keep going. So, it's fantastic.
On the subject of trolls and YouTube.
Yeah, go on.
How do you... when you get to a certain amount,
Yeah.
especially if you're a bar owner like me, because I am the absolute pits of the earth. I'm not only a bar owner, I'm a YouTuber. Actually, bless his heart, at the funeral of Mike, yeah. I saw Brian Flowers, who was got YouTube,
yeah.
and he came up to me. I hadn't spoken to Brian for years, and he says, "All right, Phil," he says, "thanks for setting up a YouTube channel. You've took the heat off me." How do you? Because you just get negative people, and the way I deal with it is I do not, unless something is dodgy legally or really, really profanity ridden, which actually YouTube want you to delete that because it's just about words. How do you? I just leave them there and I just comment on them, because I'm very much of an opinion that don't censor. Because then, if every single comment in your YouTube is positive, it's like when you go to a restaurant and you go to TripAdvisor. I always look at the negative comments, because every business messes up sometimes.
Absolutely.
And see how the restaurant responds to the negative comments. And I mean, what do you do? What's your policy? Do you have a policy, or do you just wake up and think,
I never, ever delete any comment, no matter whether it's good or bad, unless, like you've just said. So, if I have a troll that's giving me some grief, I just like blow him a kiss or whatever, and say, have a great day, mate. I find it, do you know what's weird? Dare I say this, I'll probably get inundated now. But I actually
you can take the heat off me.
I quite like them in some ways, because I think, am I really that important in your life that you've got to write such a meaningless comment? Because I've got better things to do in my time. I really have. I couldn't dream of going onto someone's YouTube channel and writing some aggressive or abusive text. I think, why did I just do that? Because if I think about it, that guy on the other end, he's probably gone, dickhead. and like, where does that get me? Nowhere. So I leave every comment up there, and I agree what you say, Fern, and I think it's a really valid point that you don't censor what people think about you or your content or your channel, because the minute you do that, like you've just said, and it's a really good point, the minute you start doing that, well, then it starts to become a little bit shady, because people think, well, hang on, how's he never had a negative comment? So I do get them. I only ever delete things that, like you said, are against YouTube's policies or are really close to the bone for somebody else. So like if you've written a comment and then someone starts attacking like your family or whatever, then I would delete that, because that's not necessary. If someone wants to say to me, you're a fat, bald-headed lard ass, I'll say thank you very much. Obviously caught me on a good day.
You've obviously got a good telly.
I think, hey, must have caught me on a dummy air.
But the thing is, and this is a good segue, you're not... Well, you are bald. I can't take that away.
I shaved my head. But you of all people should know that.
But you're not fat anymore, because you've really gone on a fitness drive. Tell us a little bit about that side of you.
Well, this went back to I support a place called the Bankru Jar, which is an orphanage for children that have been physically and sexually abused and been rescued from human trafficking. And it's something that I desperately wanted to do, and I thought it was a really good thing to get involved with. And we've done so much for them over the last 18 months now. But what it was I was really, really fat, and now I'm just fat, so I'm getting there.
I don't think you was really, really fat.
It's a baggy T-shirt. So what happened was I was talking to a few people, and I noticed a few of my friends used to go out mountain biking and cycling, road cycling. So I thought, well, I'll have a crack at that. So I got lent a really nice road bike, and that was from Cadence Cycles in Jomtien, and really, really lovely guy, lent me a cycle, and I then said, right, I'm going to ride 100 kilometres in one go, and I'm going to do it for the Bankru Jar, which we did. And I raised, I've got a thing called Discord, which is like my community, and we raised, it was mental, like it was just raising money, which we put to good use now, and we've done so much up at Bankru Jar, which is fantastic. And so then I started to get the feeling for the road cycling. So now I cycle every week. I cycle 4 times a week, and I cycle between 50 to 60 kilometres every time.
But put in the good cause side of it just to one side for one moment. Just the fitness and the fact that you have lost weight. How do you, was there anything else? Did you change your diet? How do you feel now? Do you feel like there's a new you?
I think, definitely a new me, and there's another stage to come yet. I think what we're going to touch on this. I think Pattaya lifestyle is very, very demanding for those that are weak-hearted. and weak-minded. And for me to go out and do my stuff, then sit back in my condo or go home and see my family, which is up in Korat, it's so easy to just go and get a bottle of beer and have one. Then when you have one, you have two. When you have two, I have 3 large Leos every night, and I'm thinking, and then when you do that 7 days a week, that's 21 large Leos, then all of a sudden you're like to 85 large Leos a month. Take me back home to England, and when my one night a week, which would be my Friday night or my Saturday night out, well, there's a massive difference. And of course, so I did make a mental change. Now I only drink 2 nights a week. I drink on a Friday and a Saturday, purely because I work my nuts off on the bike during the week, and I think I deserve that. It's very, very easy when you come here, particularly to live here, as you know yourself, you've probably got it harder than me in respect of when the bars are. I mean, you're working incredibly long hours, so it's very easy to binge drink and to binge eat because it's circumstantial. When you sit in the condo and you've got nothing else to do, it's like, well, a bit bored now. I'll have a beer. So I have changed that. I don't drink anywhere near. I mean, I probably drink now in a month what I used to drink in a week.
When you, let's just say, you identified as being a big guy because you says to me that okay, a lardos.
You can call me, I don't mind.
Was there a smaller Trevor wanting to get out?
There was, but I think that the problem is you become so lazy. And of course, the biggest problem that you've got here, and it really is a very, very big problem that probably a lot of people don't even register, is when I walked down the road when everything was open, hello, sexy man. It floats your boat, you know what I mean? You walk down the road and you've got 15 to 20 girls a day calling you a sexy man, when really, I've got tits bigger than Dolly Parton, and I'm thinking like, really? I'm sexy? Happy days. So then I wouldn't feel bad about myself. Whereas if I was back home, my mates would have hammered me. They would have been brutal.
This town is a complete ego trip.
It's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you know what? People say it's over. I'm like, behave yourself. Shut up. Get a grip of yourself. It's over. What's that all about?
So you must be really pleased with the results. You've put the effort in, put in all the money and the good causes that you've done to one side. You do. You look fantastic. You really do.
Well, it's kind of you to say that, Phil. And I'll slip you that money later. Don't worry. No, I mean, I do feel good. And it is obviously a much more improved me, and I came from a fitness world, so of course to come over here, I was 82 kilos, I was in prime shape, I was very, very health conscious, very fit, very physically strong. And then, of course, you get lazy, and then suddenly, your six-pack becomes a 4, becomes a 2, now it becomes a barrel, and it's like, that wasn't quite. And, of course, then you get your mates haven't seen you for a while, and they look at the picture and go, fuck me, who's that? And I'm like, sod off.
Yeah.
That's me on a good day.
Look, we've talked a little bit about YouTube, we talked about fitness, one or two things. Big news. Now, you've said that you want to announce this, so I'm gonna hold the podcast for a few days. I'm going to let you announce everything. But
no, it's already done. It's out today, mate.
Okay.
It's out today.
Tell us the big news.
Yeah, I've opened a 7-Eleven.
I wondeed when you walked through the door, it went bing bong. I always wondered that.
I mean, I guess really firstly, I'm opening a bar. Okay, there's a Buzzing bar. It's going to be in Tree Town, and it's got huge potential, and the vision and the support with the investors, etc. If I take you back now 12 months and you just said to me, Trevor, you ever going to open a bar? I'd have laughed you off the door and said, don't be so stupid, Phil, stay off the beer, mate, because it's affecting your brain. And I've always said that. And to be honest with you, what I think I found more incredible is the community that I have with Buzzing. It's all well and good having a YouTube channel. It's all well and good having social media. It's all well and good having this, that, and the other. I mean, we've got a Buzzing radio. We've got so many different little things. But the fact was that so many people used to keep coming back to me saying, when are you going to open a bar? I want to come and drink in your bar. I want to come and meet you. When are you going to open a bar? And I'm like, dude, you don't need to meet me. I'm just a nobody. But then suddenly, without trying to sound like a big-headed dick, it's like, well, actually, maybe people do want to come and say hello. And then I get into your world where people come into the pub and they come to see Phil because you are the owner and you're the guy they've come to see.
People do. I mean, even now with lockdown, I get people... I usually sit inside and the girls are taking the orders outside, and people say, I just want to go in and say hello to Phil. You know? And like you say, it can be an ego trip for you, but actually there is like a connection, like you were talking about your YouTube. Why do people comment? There is a connection that you get there, and I never ever get that either. I mean, it's strange. So that's really good news. Tell us, what can you tell us about it?
Well, the bar's in Tree Town. It's on the right. If you're looking at Tree Town, looking into Tree Town, where you've got the food court in the middle.
Right.
It's on the right-hand side. It's
So I know Taboo Bar.
you know more than me then.
Oh, okay.
Basically, you know Danny's Sports Bar.
The old one or
No,
the new
one in Tree Town. So
Yes.
you've got one right on the far right corner. Right.
Yeah.
So if you was to stand in Danny's bar and look looking straight, and you used to look at 3 o'clock, it'll be on the right-hand side. It's there.
Okay.
It's a very large. It's about 140 square meters.
Cool.
It's a big place. And the plan is that we're still learning. Again, this is something where it goes back to my community. You know, I've got a Discord group. And I'm constantly saying to people, you know, what kind of things do you guys want in the bar? It's pointless me saying, well, here's the bar, this is what I've done. I'm saying to people, what do you want? Tell me. So we've been listening for about 3 months now, because we've had the okay about the bar, but because of legal requirements and stuff that I can't go into detail about, we couldn't announce it. So it was always a case of like, right, okay, so what do you want from us? It's going to change now. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the bar upstairs. It's going to be the biggest rooftop bar in Tree Town. There will be an air-conditioned area where there'll be 2 pool tables and some bar stools and stuff where you can meet and talk to each other. And then outside will be a full-on sun loungers and a central bar area. And then you'll be having views across Tree Town. Downstairs will then become the first nightclub in the Tree Town area, and it's all part and package of the one thing. So it's exciting times. It's scary times.
Yeah.
It's scary because I'm completely out of my comfort zone now. You know, I've never ever had any inkling whatsoever to be involved in the bar game. I mean, obviously here as a photographer, I go around bars to bars, taking all the photos as I have done for many years. And now suddenly I'm on the other side of that coin. It's like, wow. So I really have no idea what to expect. It's not going to be a girly bar. There's no touching or groping the staff, any of that stuff. It's going to be a normal bar. And I am very privileged. I do know a huge amount of girls through photography. So I am going to speak to everyone and say, look, you know, if you want to finish work and you want to come over to the bar or go downstairs to the nightclub, you know, come over and enjoy it.
How do you see that new business, which sounds amazing, and I can just feel the excitement when you're talking. How do you see that business affecting you, your day-to-day living, your routine that you have? Are you going to be able to fit in making all the personal appearances at the bar as well as doing all the media stuff that you do so well?
I think, you know, one of the aspects of the Buzzing Bar will be there will be a live streaming sort of computer corner. And don't worry, the camera will be facing me, not into the bar.
Yeah.
So there'll be none of that. So I will plan on doing like the live streaming on the Thursday and on the Sundays I currently do. So that won't change. I don't see the need to be in the bar, and you know, you probably know more about this than myself here, Phil. I'm not quite sure yet because we haven't discussed the opening hours, so I'm not sure if you can actually even open during the afternoon or the early days in Tree Town. I don't think you can. I don't know. From what I understand, I think it's a 4 p.m. license, I believe. However, that may be something we can approach the Tree Town organizer and say, look, can we open early and do food and stuff? So I don't know. But in answering the question, to be honest with you, I'm just going to have to go with the flow. And I'm very lucky. You know, Bo, who works for me, she's fantastic. She's taken a huge amount of work away from me and what I call the mundane work, like the posts and all that stuff. So she's done all that. So I would like to think that it won't be too much of a struggle. I've always said from day one on the channel, don't expect me in the bar every night because that's not my scene. I do not want to do that, and I won't do that. But I will be there as much as I can. And I don't know, Phil, you know, if you'd have said to me a year ago, Trevor, you're going to have a bar, I'd have laughed at you. Now I'm sitting here, in a year's time, maybe you'll go back and say, do you remember when you said it wasn't going to affect you? You know, we'll be laughing about it. I don't know.
I remember me and you doing an interview outside here.
That's right, yeah.
In the quiet soy.
Yeah.
Had a motorbike going up every 10 seconds.
That's right, yeah.
And after we finished, you were saying, you know, Phil, I want to try this live streaming, but I just can't get my head around it. I don't know. And I said, just do it. Just do it. Yeah. And my God, you've got the biggest live stream probably. You and Nick are probably the biggest live streamers in Pattaya now.
I think with the live stream, I mean, you are right. And you know, like you said, and you're absolutely right there. I remember that conversation because you were doing it.
Yeah.
And, you were down on the beach and doing all these different kinds of... And I just thought, that's so cool, but it's so not me. And then I remember...
But it is you.
Well, but you see, do you remember my very first ever live show? I don't know if you saw that.
Well, I remember the first 10 minutes.
Was that when I messed it completely
When you
up?
didn't even know you were live.
Well, there you go, you see. So what happened was I used this software called StreamYard. So I'm in front of my computers, and I thought, well, I'll have a look at this and see how it works and what buttons you got to press. And then so I'm on there and I'm pressing these buttons, and I'm just like rambling away to myself, nobody else, just to myself. And suddenly, like, these comments started coming in. Oh, hi Trevor, great to see you on the live show. I thought, bloody hell, I like this test software. It's really realistic. People are actually commenting to me, and I'm like looking at it and I'm thinking, well, hang on, like, how does the computer know that I've, like, got this shirt on? Or how does the computer know that that's my background? I'm thinking, that's really bizarre. And then it just dawned on me, you do realise, Trevor, you are actually live. So I'm like, oh, my God, like, right, hello? and it just went for there. And afterwards, people said, mate, you've got to do another one. And I'm thinking, no, I haven't. And now I do them I do 2 a week. So
I think you launched your live stream just at the right time, because it was a time when in the UK, certainly in America, in Australia, all your core market, I assume, everyone was locked down.
Yeah.
So, they had nowhere. I mean, it was a captive audience.
Yeah. You're going nowhere.
Yeah. I mean, I do a live stream, just me and the members in the members area on the Thursday. And it's the one I love the most because it just reminds me. I used to have a radio show, an all-night radio show, and people said, "Oh, you're on the graveyard shift," which was like 2 o'clock in the morning till 7 on the radio show. And I think the most amazing people were out. It's not the graveyard shift at all. I think that's the best. That is real radio, because you can do what you want. The program controller's not listening, so you can, unless you completely mess up, you can do whatever you want. I think I told you on my third show on this really, really big commercial radio station, in the middle of the night, third show, Princess Diana died.
Oh wow!
So that was. I mean, I'm making fun of it now, but my goodness, that was shocked in at the deep end, big time. And I kept on phoning up the boss of the station saying, ring. He was a Scottish gentleman that enjoyed a drink, shall we say. And it was a Sunday morning, Monday, and no way, he just
Can I ask you a question?
I knew this had happened.
Can I spin it around quickly?
Michael Parkinson.
No, honestly, I want to ask this question because, and I'm sorry, I'm doing this wrong.
Please do.
But you mentioned there that you do a members area live stream.
Yes.
I was contemplating that, and I didn't do it. And I'll tell you why, because I had so many people that are not members saying, oh, yeah, here we go, got to pay to watch and all the rest of it. I mean, how do you deal with that? Because me, personally, I don't do it, only because I'm too scared.
Well, I think that the members... They pay they can pay a small membership, or they can pay a larger membership fee. I just think they deserve some kind of extra content.
Gotcha.
And to be honest, the people that moan about it, well, okay, so it's an extra stream. Okay. So you're moaning that I'm doing a members stream, but I do 2 streams for you. You know, I do them. So if you want to come in, I got it the first time I did it. I think I got a couple of people. You had 200 people watching, and you just cut us all off. And you know what? I think the members. I actually really enjoy doing the members, and I remember meeting Nick from NDTVI, and he was contemplating doing his own sort of thing away from YouTube to do memberships, where he was going to have like an email marketing list, and he was going to do a private room. And I says, you know what, Nick, just do a members area. He wasn't very happy about the 30% thing, but I says it's better to keep people on just one platform, because it's so easy to do, and YouTube takes care of all the membership and everything. You
could have told me that. I've got about 10 different platforms now. You could have told me that. I don't know what day of the week it is. And I wake up every morning, I think, right, let's do item number 1 of list number 20.
There is so much to do. And the one thing that I don't do, and you must know people that do this, YouTubers. I'm sure there are one or two people that we both know that wake up every morning and the first thing they do is look at their members and their comments and subscriptions. But I never do that. I mean, I don't even look at it till about 2 or 3 in the afternoon.
I'm guilty.
It's the first thing you do.
Very first thing. So when I wake up every single one, I'm a really early riser, so I'm normally awake between 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning because I go to bed early.
Yeah.
So the first thing I do...
That's going to change.
I know, yeah. So no, what I do, my daily routine is always the same. It never changes. So basically, I wake up at silly o'clock in the morning, I go and make a cup of coffee, and I sit down, and the first thing I do is I go to the comments on my YouTube, and I answer every single comment.
Yeah.
Only because... obviously, where I've been sleeping, I know there's been a lot of comments, and then I know my videos come out every day at 9 o'clock in the morning. So I know that come 9 o'clock, there's going to be more comments. So I don't want a mountain of comments.
Correct, yeah.
And the one thing I do, and maybe this has been one of the reasons why the YouTube's done so well, I don't honestly know truthfully, but I answer every single comment religiously. I do not miss one because I think to myself, if you've had the time in your day to write to me, I should find the time to write back to you. Now, I know it's not the same because we answer hundreds of comments, whereas they make one. But the point being is, if I want that one person to come back and I ignore them, if I was in their shoes, after a couple, I think, do you know what, I ain't bothering with them. They never bloody reply anyway. So I'd bin them off. Yeah. And, you know, and I've noticed now that there's a couple of other YouTubers that weren't doing that and now doing that.
Oh, I always... I must admit, if somebody just puts something like... great video or something, then so, you know, or there's somebody else that makes a really long comment, I'll usually answer the long comment, but I'll always like the great video. But no, I'd say 90% of the comments I do. But the one thing I do when I do get around to looking at the YouTube, which is
it's not me this time. I'm not guilty.
Keep going. I'll tell you what, that's a great delivery service. It's the fastest.
They're always on time.
When I do get around to looking at my YouTube, which I have to admit is really late in the day, I always go for comments held for review first thing.
Oh yeah.
Because for those people that don't know,
give me some grief today.
There's like an automatic system where YouTube hold for review comments that they think might be close to the knuckle, and so I always look at them first.
I think the trouble is with that side is, I mean, especially being as handsome as I am, those comments are pretty much relative to me. So like YouTube just blocks them. I'm like, no, it really is me. I am fat, ugly, and bald.
but the problem is I get, I don't know if you have this problem, Trev, is sometimes a moderator can hold a comment for me. So I've got a few moderators that are on there, and they've deemed that the comment isn't right. But I'll look at it and think, that's all right, I'll put it in, I'll answer that. But then I'm going over the moderator's head, and I don't like to do that sometimes.
Yeah, I don't have that issue because I don't allow the moderators to do that. My moderating team only interact on the live streams for me. Okay. But the problem we got there is, it's a great question, what you said, a great topic. So I'm on live stream, and you know yourself, obviously, so you got all your comments spiraling down like a roller coaster. And, you know, I've got a fantastic team of 5 moderators that are brilliant. But if they delete the comment on YouTube, it still
comes up,
on my system.
Absolutely.
So I'm like talking away, and then I'll read a comment, and then at the end it might say, I know you were drinking piss, and I'm thinking, oh God. And then after the stream, my moderator say, Trev, we've deleted that. Why did you read it out? And you got to the end and you realised it was a spam, and I'm like, well, because it appears.
There's something, the software. I mean, I don't use Streamlabs, I use Restream. But and it's the same system, right? It will take comments from Facebook, for example, that aren't moderated and everything, and it will put it out there. But I have exactly the same problem.
That's a nightmare.
What I've actually doing for the first time on my next live stream is, because I was missing a lot of super chats. Right, because because I'm talking complete bollocks, you know, and I'm not keeping up with the comments, and like I'll get people saying, Phil, 5 minutes ago I sent you a super chat, and I feel so bad. So what I'm doing is I'm gonna have one of my moderators on the mixing desk that you were looking at a little bit earlier.
Very smart.
You can put somebody on a phone call, like online or on Messenger, and I can put them in my ear so I can hear them. them, a bit like talkback, but the people can't hear them.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have a moderator sort of producing me.
Wow.
He's going to, you know, like Nationwide, or, you know, Frank Boff or David Coleman in the 1970s.
Fantastic.
Phil, you missed a super chat.
Oh, man.
So that's going to be a little bit of fun.
I think the trouble is, though, people just assume that this is easy. And it's so hard. You know, YouTubing as a whole is so hard. People just think, I don't know if you agree with me on it, but I've had it so many times where people say, oh yeah, you just get a bloody mobile phone, record yourself and you earn a fortune. I'm like, dude, you've got no idea how hard this really is.
I think you can either have the personality to do it or not. I'm in a couple of communities with the software that on Facebook, their groups, and you have people that constantly talk about, oh, I'm getting a new camera next week, or oh, I'm getting a new lighting system, or oh, I've got this new microphone, and then I click on their videos, and they've just got zero personality, and I'm thinking to myself, babe, you could have the best camera, lights in the world, it's never going to make you look any better because you haven't got a certain type of personality to do it.
Absolutely.
And I think that's why YouTubers are actually so, by a very small percentage of the community, so disliked, because we are sort of saying, oh, you know what, I'm quite confident, I think I can do this. And I think people don't like that in this town as much.
I agree. I think like people look at us and think, oh, he's opinionistic and he's a dick and all that. And I'm like, yeah, but you know, I am. But at the end of the day, I do think that if you're having a bad day and you watch something that we put together, you know, yours and mine or whoever's doing it, maybe, just maybe, it might brighten your day up a little bit. Or maybe you'll think, God, I wish I'd never watched that, you know. But it's not anywhere near as easy as people think.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, it's an art form, definitely. Trevor, I've got one last question.
Fire away, my man.
And it's the one that probably you've been asked a million times.
Oh, no,
so I'm going to be the million first.
Go on.
You're looking at this bar, and you've been walking around empty soys and for 6 months now. What is your opinion on when we're going to be able to open? And more importantly, the people that are listening to the podcast back home, when can they come, possibly with quarantine-free travel? What's your opinion on that?
Okay, so number one, anybody out there that says to me Pattaya is finished is absolutely off their rails. It really is rubbish. And I'll tell you why. You know, before I came to see you today, Phil, I deliberately drove down Pattaya Nur, and then I went down Beach Road, come up through Walking Street to come to you. And the changes here in the infrastructure, the developments this city are going through right now is absolutely phenomenal. And not just on the cosmetic side. Yes, they're now doing the beach road, they're now doing the beach, they're now doing the wires in Walking Street. But now look at the buildings. There's an incredibly huge building going right next to Terminal 21. Massive big food land, and it's got all these kind of... You know, they don't do these things because they're bored. They do these things because they know that, yes, we are in a shitstorm right now, as is the world, but we're not going to be in this forever. And eventually, when we do get through it, there has to be some light at the end of the tunnel. Now, when that day will be, I personally... I have to stand by what I've said on my own channel, and I'll say it here. I have to say that there's just no question it has to be this side of Christmas. For the simple reason being is you look outside, and as we've touched on earlier, you know, there's food donations, there's people out of work, there are buildings that are just sitting there rotting away. Eventually, they have to reopen these buildings. They have to give the green light. What happens once they give that green light? That will then be a case of survival of the fittest. It will be those that have got the money to open the quickest and to be able to get the staff back. There's a mountain for us to climb yet, but 100% we'll climb it. I will argue the toss to anybody that wants to stand in front of me and say to me, Pattaya's finished. Okay, well, let's go down that road then. And funny enough, you got me on a rant now, so sorry. But funny enough...
Carry on, I'm happy.
Well, no, but, you know, I'm going to cover this on not this week, next week's YouTube, on my chat show, because I have so many people saying to me, Pattaya's finished. All right, well, let's go down that road then. So it's finished. All right, okay, it's done. So what we're going to do is just sit here and do nothing? What's going to replace it? Where are all the people that have lost their jobs? What are they going to do? You know, there's so much more to just the nightlife here. You know, yes, the nightlife has put Pattaya on the map, but did you know Pattaya's got 28 tourist attractions, the most tourist attractions in one location, the whole of Thailand. So I understand why they want to maybe move the nightlife as they are keep threatening to away as such from Walking Street. I don't think it will be moved verbatim. I think there will be some movement. But then, you know, go around the world. I've been to Germany, I lived in Germany, I've lived in England, I've lived in many, many countries where it's deemed to be a tourist attraction, but there are still areas of red lights. Of course, you look at Amsterdam. You know, you go to Holland. Oh, Holland's famous for cheese and for tulips. We'll go to Amsterdam and see what it's famous for in there. You know, so we're no different here. And if they do push everything over to the Tree Town area, to LK, to Soy all that area, in terms of like the in-your-face stuff, well then, okay. But I think it has to be this side of Christmas. I think if they don't do it this side of Christmas, I think they could be in a real bad situation, not because of tourism, but because of the people that are here that are desperately needing work and money.
That's a great way to end the show. For the record, I agree with you. I don't think the powers that be are going to let us have miss another high season. It's interesting, isn't it, that things seem to be happening the last couple of days. The government's coming out with reports that maybe we're going to have to live with this, with this problem, and we're going to look at ways that we can do that we can open up quickly. And I totally agree with you. In 50 years' time, you'll still be able to come to Pattaya and find a friend for the evening and have a vibe. It might be totally different.
Absolutely.
But the vibe of this city has always remained the same. I've been here for I've been coming for 26 years now. It will change, but the vibe of this city will never, ever die. And with that in mind, I'm wishing you all the best. Have you got a name for the nightclub and the bar yet?
The bar is called the Buzzing Bar. Yeah. And the nightclub is called Escape.
Escape?
Yeah.
That's funny. I had my eye on a bar once, and I was going to call it Escape. Yeah. That's great. I love that. That's a good name.
Yeah, I mean, it's, I don't know, we'll do this in 6 months' time, we'll see. At least I can't say to you, well, by then all my hair may have fell out, because I ain't got none to fall out.
I'll be going, Trev, it's 4 a.m, Trev, and I know you're an early riser.
You're getting no response.
I'm just going to bed. I had 40 shots tonight.
Oh, no, there'll be none of that. That's the one thing I won't be doing. That's definitely what I won't be doing. Famous last words.
You heard it here first. Trevor, best of luck with Buzzing Bar.
Thank you.
Best of luck with Escape over in Tree Town. Best of luck with all the good stuff that you do, and the YouTube channel as well. And thanks for coming on the podcast. That's it for today. We'll have another interesting guest next week. I'm not sure who it will be yet. But until then, please subscribe to the podcast, and we'll see you next time. From me and from Trevor, it's goodbye.